There once was a vast kingdom nestled between the great Omi and Niger rivers within Nigeria. The kingdom prospered under the rule of a wise king named Victor and his loyal Queen Gift. The noble King Victor and Queen Gift had all they could desire except for one missing blessing: a child. Finally, after many years, the royal couple rejoiced at the arrival of a baby girl. They named the exceptionally beautiful princess Olana, meaning she who belongs to the gods and community. All marveled at divine signs the day she was born: brilliant rainbows arcing over the land and great flocks of birds migrating through the kingdom. Young Princess Olana grew into a gentle soul who loved reading poetry in the palace gardens and dancing barefoot through green meadows. Her long braided hair always adorned with fragrant lotus blossoms. All who met Olana instantly fell under the spell of her intelligence, grace, and beauty. By 18 years old, suitors traveled from all corners of the kingdom and even distant lands, captivated by tales of Olana's beauty and wisdom. They would cluster daily beneath her balcony, hoping to win her favor with displays of poetry, rare orchids from the rainforest, and promises of great riches. Yet clever Olana saw through the hubris and empty displays. She desired true mutual understanding and adventure in a husband, not superficial courtship rituals. The humble potter or farmer able to discuss poetry and dreams held more appeal than the bombastic nobleman flaunting peacock feathers and gemstones for her attention. King Victor grew frustrated as piles of extravagant rejected offerings, bolts of silk, golden tiaras, towering wedding cakes, cluttered the palace, gathering dust. "Dearest daughter, you must select a worthy husband soon before our kingdom drowns in scorned suitors' generous debris," the king implored. On her daily strolls among the emerald palace gardens, only the shy gaze of the gardener's son Emmanuel could make Olana's heart flutter, though they would read sonnets secretly side by side under the corkwood tree when no nobles were watching. Emmanuel knew a humble commoner could never deserve a princess. Yet he would pick simple hibiscus and bougainvillea blossoms to tuck into Olana's braids, marveling at her genuine smiles. But one afternoon, great chaos descended upon the castle grounds when an ornate entourage arrived unannounced. Crowds gaped as a striking foreign nobleman stepped regally from a carved teakwood carriage, his black velvet robes and golden sash glinting in the sun. None had seen this mysteriously handsome visitor before. "I am Prince Eric from the distant Mamu kingdom beyond the great desert," he announced. "I have traveled long months following whispers on the trade winds of Princess Olana's fabled grace and beauty." Prince Eric strode before awestruck Olana and dramatically knelt, unveiling an egg-sized diamond that cast prisms through the grand hall. "Noble princess, I humbly request your hand in marriage. Come return with me to my exotic palace so we may unite our kingdoms," pronounced the captivating prince. King Victor eagerly prodded his speechless daughter to accept at once. Here finally was a worthy suitor of appropriate nobility. Surely mysterious Prince Umuru from distant lands must be the destined match for her special daughter, the king thought. Yet amidst the marrying fervor, only gardener's son Emmanuel noted tiny details amiss. The prince's shoes, peeking from his robes, appeared strangely green-tinged and scaled. Emmanuel alone felt a sinister aura from the foreign suitor. Could the oddly eccentric Prince Eric be concealing his true identity? Emmanuel vowed to uncover the secret of the peculiar royal suitor from afar, trying to whisk the princess away. For her own safety, brave Emmanuel began tracking Prince Eric's every move around the palace grounds, suspicion growing that something may be awry. Gardener's son Emmanuel did not trust this surprise guest, Prince Eric. Emmanuel noticed strange things that made him wonder if the prince was really who he claimed to be. The shoes Eric wore under his fancy robes looked green and scaly, like fish skin, and his perfume smelled like salty ocean waves, not lovely flowers. Emmanuel decided to watch the visiting prince closely for clues of whether he might be lying about something. Hiding in lemon trees and behind stone walls, Emmanuel spied on Prince Eric around the palace. One evening, Eric believed he was alone as the last sunshine left the courtyard. But garden boy Emmanuel was hidden nearby, watching closely with narrow eyes. The odd royal guest let out a low, angry growl that sounded like a dangerous animal. And just for one blink, his shadow stretched into a creature with fins instead of a man's form, before changing back instantly to disguise itself again. Garden helper Emmanuel gasped, then turned to run racing fast on his bare, tough feet through the banana trees. I must warn the princess right away about this sneaky Eric, he decided. He had to tell her to not go away with that so-called polite prince.
Before we continue, if you're enjoying this fascinating folktale, subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss out on more entertaining stories like this. It's free. By subscribing, you help support our community in creating and sharing these captivating tales from cultures worldwide. New uploads arrive weekly. Subscribe now to never miss an upload.
Kind gardener's boy Emmanuel raced to the pomegranate grove when he spotted Princess Olana reading alone as she preferred. Wise princess, please hear me. That visitor Prince Eric plans wicked tricks, Emmanuel warned urgently. I saw his shadow shift into a beast. We cannot trust him. Princess Olana, fury flashed in her eyes at the gardener boy's wild claims. How dare you spread such lies about my handsome suitor, you jealous weed picker, she shouted. You only slander Prince Eric because your foolish garden tender's heart holds affection for me that could never be returned. In her offended rage, Princess Olana summoned the bronze-clad guards. Throw this pathetic, jealous creature into the dungeon before he ruins my destiny with Prince Eric, she commanded. The bewildered gardener boy, Emmanuel, could only yell that he spoke the truth as the guards seized him. But the princess had made up her mind as she smoothed her braids, waiting for the foreign prince to return. The guards flung Emmanuel into a cramped stone cell with a heavy iron door. The gardener's boy grasped the bars, pleading his innocence, but the guards just laughed at his cries of the strange prince's secret fish form. Emmanuel slumped in despair onto the dirty cell floor, but he knew with the vain royal wedding only days away now, he must still save innocent Princess Olana from the clutches of the devious sea monster in disguise. Just then, Emmanuel noticed a fish skeleton in the corner, left from the wretched meals of previous prisoners. Inspired, he picked open his cell lock using the tiny fish bone. As soon as night fell, clever, loyal Emmanuel crept from the dark dungeon, determined to convince the doubtful princess of the truth before her wedding departure. That night, a grand banquet was held to celebrate Princess Olana's impending wedding to Prince Eric. Cunning Emmanuel disguised himself in servant robes and slipped unnoticed into the vast feasting hall, concealed among the bustling dinner crowd. Peering between the legs of Duchess and diplomats, Emmanuel tried to catch the princess's eye, but she was besotted gazing at her well-mannered betrothed. From the servant area, quick-thinking Emmanuel grabbed a handful of tiny, fiery chili peppers. He stealthily shuffled through the busy hall to where deceitful Prince Eric drank fragrant honey wine. Emmanuel silently prayed as he slipped the burning peppers into Eric's gold goblet, while the imposter royal laughed loudly, oblivious. The loyal gardener boy held his breath, waiting. Soon, Prince Eric took another deep swig from his cup and immediately turned bright red, eyes bulging and steam hissing from his ears. The banquet broke into shocked chaos as the well-mannered foreign guest jumped up, sputtering fire angrily. Servants tried giving him milk as he spun in circles, clutching his throat, making odd, gagging sounds. The spectacle caused Eric's human prince illusion to finally fall away completely. Nobles shrieked in horror to see a half-man, half-fish wildly thrashing his green fishy tail about where royal legs had been. The deceptive merman, Prince Eric's true sea creature identity now fully exposed, Emmanuel had succeeded. Now the kingdom would have to believe the gardener boy's warnings all along. Chaos erupted in the banquet hall. Guards rushed to grab the writhing, exposed merman, while horrified guests overturned tables, fleeing the scene. Amidst the pandemonium, gardener boy Emmanuel ran to Princess Olana's side to shield her from the imposter prince's further lies and tricks. "I warned about the sea monster's deceptions, dear princess," Emmanuel declared. "Now you must flee this palace before more ocean beasts drag you into their lair." "Courageous Emmanuel, can you forgive my stubborn mind for not heeding your warning sooner?" cried the princess, taking his calloused hands gratefully. "You saved our entire kingdom from this invading creature's wickedness. How can I thank you enough, my bravest friend?" "No thanks needed, princess. We must ride swiftly before the vile sea prince's allies trap us," Emmanuel responded as dramatic music plays. The two clasped hands, leaping astride a mighty white stallion, galloping off to safety from the chaotic scene. Clever gardener's boy Emmanuel helped Princess Olana escape into the countryside, far from the warring ocean prince's reach. For several sunny weeks, they camped in remote meadows, riversides, and forest clearings. Free from the confines of royal life at last, the princess and thoughtful Emmanuel found true friendship, sharing campfires, starry skies, and dreams unseen back in the palace stone walls. Emmanuel wove laurel and lilies into a floral crown for Olana's lovely head. "A true crown, suited for your courageous spirit, dear princess," he declared. For the first time, love stirred brightly in both their chests as they looked into each other's moonlit eyes. By the time they finally returned to kingdom after defeating the villainous sea prince, Olana and Emmanuel knew fate intended their hearts to be united. The king, reminded of true love's worth beyond statuses, proudly announced a great wedding feast for his daughter, and the noble gardener boy would take place at once. And they lived happily ever after. The end.